mother's name was Madeline.
Mary Madeline.
At confirmation, I was named Madeline, and so was my sister Mary. Her name was Mary Madeline.
Okay. Am I doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's you and Aunt Mary and Uncle Joe.
George. Joe. Albert. I had 3 brothers. And a sister.
Was Uncle Joe's name Joseph Herman?
Yeah, Joseph Herman. They were in, well, is this started now?
Yeah.
Oh. My mother died when I was 7 years old. And my oldest brother was 8 years old. I was 7. And my sister was 5. My Joe, my brother, was 4. Not quite 4. And my youngest brother was 22 months old when she died.
What did she die of?
Typhoid fever. 1913, we had a flood in Logansport. And sometimes you can go through that, there's a place there where they have all the history of it and pictures. Be good for the kids to see sometime when you come in to stay a few days, you know. Take the kids through that. And it tells you all about it. Where I live now, there was a canal.
Yeah.
There was a canal. There was no houses. My house wasn't there yet, but there was Indians around the place, some of the places. And that's before, I don't know, way before. But when my mother died, though, I was in charge of my baby brother. He used to stay with me, and I went with one of the aunts. And my sister Mary went with another aunt, and my 2 brothers went with my dad, were boarded or stayed with. And for about 2 years, I had my brother with me, Albert, my brother. After 2 years, they put him in the orphanage. Because then my aunts all started to get a big family, and my uncle got sick where I was staying. And so my baby brothers, my younger brothers, my dad put them in an orphanage in Lafayette.
The 2 younger ones?
The 2 younger ones, Joe and Albert. George stayed with him. Then about, maybe 3 years later, well, after 3 years after my mother died, he went and married an old maid, just to get the boys out of the orphanage and bring us all together. I used to pray nights that something would happen to bring us all together again, because we missed our brothers, our little group, you know. There was 5 of us, and we were always together with my mother and dad. And so he went ahead, and I would pray, and nothing ever happened, night after night. And one night, we slept in a bedroom upstairs over to my aunt's. I opened the window. I thought, well, God does not hear my prayers. So I opened the windows, and I held my brother up so he would reach out, you know, and we prayed. I had him to pray with me. Now, he was only 2 years old, or a little 2 and a half by that time, something like that. and we prayed out the window. And, but nothing happened. They just went, finally my dad put them in the orphanage. And that was that. Until the boys didn't like it. They cried all the time. They wanted to come home. Every time he'd go out there about every week to see him, you know. In Lafayette, that was kind of, well, I don't know how long Lafayette is from Logansport, but not too far. I think it takes about, not quite an hour, I don't think, to get there and back. And of course, he had to take, we didn't have no cars. They had to take the buses or train. They had those urban trains, like, you know, streetcars or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. And then they would take and he'd go there and he'd come home. The kids, you know, would cry. They wanted to come home with him, and it was terrible for him to leave them there. And he'd just come home and throw himself on a chair and cry, my dad would, because he had to leave those kids there when he knew they wanted to come home. So he married, this was a friend of his in Chicago. Tony Laporte was his name. And he had a sister, an old maid sister. She never got married. But she was 60 years old. And my dad was only 36 years old. And because my mother was 27 years old when she died, and my dad was 33. And this was 3 years later. Anyway, he went ahead and married this girl, this woman. She was nice, though. She was spry. She was 60 years old, but she was spry. And she was really good with the kids. The only thing was, but they didn't tell my dad that, though. She had, what do you call that, epilepsy?
Yeah.
Some kind of spells, you know.
Yeah.
And the doctor had told him that too many of them, more, and she would be a goner. And I don't know that brother, why he did that, but anyway. She lived 22 months. And she died. And we had to go through the same thing again. Well, this time my dad kept the 3 boys with him, in the house with him. But us girls, we had to go live with my aunt. One, he sent me to the same aunt, and my sister to another aunt. And they were having a baby every year. That one aunt had 12 children. 15, in fact. 3 of them died. And Scagnoli. They had a grocery store. And we lived next door to her then. Moved next door to her, and she kind of oversaw, you know, was like an overseer. Anything, we'd run to her, you know. She was good that way, though. But anyway, this woman was very nice. She did everything she could. She was crazy about my dad. And she did everything she could. We had some rumors. She, you know, people that we knew, some of them were related, that boarded with us, 2 or 3 of them, and to help out with some of the expenses, I guess. And she'd bake bread, and she'd sell some of it. And she washed clothes, and she helped people that would have babies, you know. She'd go and do their wash, and they'd pay her a little something. And everything she made like that, she put away, stuck it under the mattress. When she died, she had her funeral expense. She was saved for her funeral. I guess maybe she knew she was going to die.
She had a feeling.
Yeah. Anyway, they went to, this was But we had a lot of fun too. We'd go see my uncle. They lived at Langhill, out the country. There was a lot of fruit trees there. Cherry tree, apple tree, pear tree, all kinds of trees. My aunt, she'd have my sister make these baskets, weave these baskets. She'd show them how to weave out of tree branches. They'd make these baskets, and then she'd cut up apples, slices of apples. I don't know how she'd do it, but then she'd get up on that shed that they had in the back and put them up there to dry. She'd throw something over it, like a net, and she dried a lot of fruit that way, peaches and pears and apples. She used to dry in the summer. I remember one time my sister Mary, now this was before she moved in town. That's where she was living out in the country, my aunt was, with my other uncle and his wife. That was my mother's brother, and his wife, and Zimmerfien, that was my mother's sister, lived on the other side of the house. It was in the same, it was two houses together for two families. But the place was a big place with lots of fruit and they had big gardens. I remember my aunt, Sigunjet, her name was, she used to, when she'd boil corn for dinner, she used to use a boiler to boil clothes in. Stick them in the back of the stove, that cold stove. And she'd boil that full of corn because she always had such a big mom. She had a lot of kids too.
What was your mom's maiden name?
Madalena Marcucci.
What part of Italy was she from?
Naples.
And your dad was from Naples?
Naples.
Also?
But they lived like in a suburb. They called it Castello Campagnano. The suburb was Castello Campagnano, and that's where he was from. She was too. That's where they were raised. Yeah. But my grandfather, he'd come here to America quite a bit, couple times. He lived with us in Terre Haute. My dad moved to Terre Haute, and he was working in the mines there. And now I had every bit of 4 years old then. This was before my mother died. And my brother George was going to this preschooler, kindergarten, I guess it was. But I'd go with him. And my mother belonged to, must have been a PTA or something in Terre Haute. Because I remember there was a lot of, it was different than when we moved in Logansport, They had, she had card parties or just ladies, the afternoons and that kind of stuff. She'd also, whenever my grandfather came over there one time, he was living with us at the time, and us kids were out in the yard, and we were afraid of the rag man, where there was an alley in the back, and this rag picker he had one of these carts that you push, with and he'd collect rags and stuff, pay you for it. He'd weigh it and pay you. I don't know what he'd give you for it. But anyway, we were scared to death of him because my grandfather scared us. He said that my little sister wouldn't quit wetting her pants, he was going to give her to the rag man. And it happened that day. She was by that hydrant outside, and she did wet her pants. And he was the rag man was coming. And my grandfather put her on his shoulder. He was going to take her to the rag picker. And we all started screaming and yelling. And I don't know what happened. I don't remember. I remember my mother coming out. That's all I remember that time, but we were all scared to death. Well, one time we came home from school, and my mother wasn't home yet, because she generally went to PTA or something with those women, you know. And generally we got home together. And that day, she wasn't home. The door was locked. We couldn't get in the house. So we waited outside. She had a rug over the banister. And the rag man was coming. Mm-hmm. So we lifted the rug and we got under there and stood under there. We were so afraid. We were afraid the rag man was going to pick us up. We were really scared. I don't know why that grandfather did that to us, but he really frightened us.
Grandma, what was your mother's name?
Madeline Marcucci was her maiden name.
What was your dad's name?
Frank Ricciardi. His name was Frank Ricciardi. They knew each other in Italy, and they came here. My dad sent for her. He came here. Then he sent for my mother, and she came here, and they got married at St. Vincent Church. That church on 9th Street, just a few blocks from where we live. Ain't there anymore, but it isn't our church anymore. Anyway, she forgot where I was.
Well, why don't you tell about the night that she died, when she was sick and you were taken to some relative's house? Remember that? The night that she died and you were in bed?
Oh. I don't know what I should tell that. Anyway, when they took her to the hospital, I was staying with my aunt, and my aunt only had the 2 bedrooms, and the 1 bedroom, she had 2 cousins of ours that had just came in from Italy and was staying with her, was staying there. And she had one of these little beds. I don't think it was as wide as this table on the other end of the room, with a big window, you know, on that end. And my brother and I, was sleeping in that room, in that little bed. And I don't know, during the night, I woke up and I saw, I don't know if I should say this, might scare the kids, but I don't know really if I saw it or if it was really me, because I saw it. That's the impression, you know, I always had. And it's through that moonlight, you know, from the window. I could see this woman. She had like a shawl and spacing up and down by the side of the bed, like she was crying, you know. The side of the bed. And I thought, oh, and it scared me, you know, who's this now? And I turned around in bed and I hugged my brother to me, you know, because he was by the wall. And I hugged him to me and threw the cover over my head. And I don't know, fell asleep that way. But the next morning, when I got up and I went to, as I got up, they were eating breakfast. And that guy turned around to my aunt and he said, you know, she didn't make us sleep at all during the night. Said she walked up and down all night crying. I said, no, that wasn't me. I saw that too, but nobody believed me. So I don't know. I still don't know to this day.
Hmm.
And then later on we heard that my mother had died.
Mm-hmm.
When she died, she was calling for her children, feel, and she bit her lip.
Mm-hmm.
That was her last breath. She bit her lip on that word.
Mm.
She wanted to see us kids,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't let us in. Well, you know, is that what you wanted me to say?
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know.
I don't think it's all
No, it's interesting.
Yeah.
How about when you met Grandpa? You said you used to hear him play his trumpet.
Oh, yeah.
that. Jared, now you can't be there.
We used to sit on the porch. He lived right across the street from us, cat a corner, you know, right across the street, and I never did notice him. And I wasn't, you know, I was only about 14 and a half years old, or 15, but I was growing up. See, I matured early. I had to. I grew up when my mother died. That was it. And my aunts kept after me about him. He had his eyes on me, and I didn't know that. But I never did notice him. And he was a good friend of Pete. You know, Pete was the band leader. My aunt's, the one that died, the cousin that died, the oldest one.
Mm-hmm.
You kids never met him. No, nobody did, because he met a good many years ago. And anyway, he and my husband were the best of friends. And so I don't know, they figured trying to get me, he wanted to talk to me and ask me, well, by that time I was 15 years old, asked me if I wanted to, you know, he was afraid to ask me for a date or if I wanted to have anything to do with him. He was afraid to. He was afraid that I'd turn him down, I guess. So he'd go to my aunt and tell my aunt. And she would try and talk. Well, if he'd asked me, I'd have said no, of course. Because I never did notice him. And I never thought of getting married that young yet. But then they were all worried about us girls and wanted to marry us off early. I don't know why. Anyway, he did. She did ask me. She said, she kept saying, "Oh," I said, "No, I don't know him. I don't know him, but he knows you, and he talks to me about you all the time. Oh, but I'm not ready to have any. I'm not ready to get married. I don't want to go steady with anybody yet." But she kept on anyway. Then my sister Mary was going to this. She was the bridesmaid, or maid of honor, something in this wedding that they were going to play in. My sister Mary, she matured a lot faster than I did. Well, what I mean is she was taller and had, you know, more honor than I did. I was just a little skinny girl.
Mm-hmm.
They thought I was skinny. And so anyway, she was in this wedding, and Pete and my husband had to play for this wedding. And that band had to play for this wedding. And my aunt went to it, and she took me with her. I went with her too, because my sister was in the wedding, and we knew the people too, who they were. And I noticed that, she had talked to me before then. She said, "You know, That girl that got married was only 16 too, you know. That time, I don't know, everybody was getting married so young. And I said, she said, you know, he asked me again, what am I going to tell him? Well, I began to notice him after she began to talk about him, you know. I began to notice. I saw him over her place a couple times. And then I began to look at him, you know, and all that. But then when I went to, that day she said, well, what shall I tell him? Do you? Well, okay. Tell him okay. And I thought, well, I'll say yes. If I don't like him, I'll just quit him. But I thought, you know, at the time, he seemed like a pretty nice guy, because he was beginning to do tricks. And I noticed she was sitting across from me, and he was sitting like over there in the band, you know, like in a corner with the band. It was a big room, of course. But I noticed that they eyed each other, and I noticed my aunt nodding her head. It was yes. That meant, you know.
Yeah.
So when they had a break in the dance, why, I saw him, then he came in. He came by my side, and I don't know, began to talk, you know, about something light. It wasn't, I forgot exactly what it was. Make conversation, you know, with me. And then we came home. I came home with my aunt. And, but I noticed after that, every little excuse, he was playing with a little boy, my aunt's little boy that lived next door, that had the store. He was playing, I don't know if it was a ball or a wheel that he was throwing. And, well, that ball came right, I was sitting on the porch with my sister crocheting. That ball came right under the porch, and he sat down, and he came after the ball. He got the ball, threw it back to the boy, but he sat down on the porch and started talking. And then from then on, he kept coming in, being, you know, he was very nice and very attentive. Took me, and you know, it didn't take me long to really fall in love with him.
How long after you met him did you marry him?
1 year. We only went together 1 year.
Yeah. Did you have a very big wedding?
Oh yes, we had a big wedding. Yeah, we had I don't know how many people were there, but it was a big wedding. And they had a great big table from the front room to almost to the kitchen door. And I remember that, I'll never forget that. They had, what do you call it, macarones? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. They're that great big macaroni. They call them wedding. Seed means a bride in Italian, that they use for brides' weddings. Anyway, they had a bowl of that out there, a platter of that, and they had fried chicken, and they had brajol, you know, rolled in, I don't know, stuffed brajol, I don't know what all they put in it. But anyway, it was a table full of food, and they threw these darn confetti candy. They threw these candy, these guys from Chicago came in, and boom, they threw these things, bursted the light bulb. They had to get rid of all that food and bring in, good thing they had lots of food cooked. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Now,
And then we had, and the the day I got married, we had everything. I had snow. When I went out, I had snow. In the morning it was raining. Then I had snow. When I left for church, all that white snow coming down. It was in April. And when then it stopped in the afternoon. It wasn't bad. It was a little rainy, but at night we had thunderstorm and real heavy rain. Thunderstorm, lightning. I said, well, we had everything on my wedding. The whole works. Then we went to my place where we were going to live, and we heard a knock at the door. And here it was, Nick Emilio was looking for his daughter. He had lost her. He thought maybe she came home with us. Because, just might have picked her up because it was storming.
Yeah.
It was a stormy night. And I said, no, nobody's here. We didn't see her. But then they found her. She had, one of the aunts had her. But that was, how many years ago? That was, well, this April will be 69 years ago. When Grandpa passed away, we were married 62 years.
And I was born, I was going to be
Almost
1 year old.
61.
Yeah, I guess that was, 9
So I was
Yeah,
going to be
because-
1 year old.
No, it's 9 years ago that he died.
9
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, because I was 1 year old. I was going to be 1 year old that month.
Yeah.
And,
So that's how long it is. 69 years ago. Yeah, we had our ups and downs. By that I mean financially. He was, he had a good upbringing, but, and he was a college man too. But it was hard for him to find his right place to work. And he did try business, but he was too tender-hearted for business. Too tender-hearted. You gotta be a little tough. You know what I mean? You can't give credit to everybody because they'll do you in the end. And he managed a store for somebody. That was okay, but then we started himself a poultry market after that. That was the last thing he did. Otherwise, he had 2 grocery stores before then. One in Logansport that he moved in Gary, and he moved that to help his cousin, because his cousin couldn't go to work at the factory because he had some kind of form of rheumatism. And he thought, well, they talked him into moving the store out there, and he'd drive. He'd be the, we did that. But then he was the one that hurt us. He hurt us. Well, anyway, that was, how many years ago? Well, that's when Catherine was born. Catherine was born in Gary when we had the store. He had a big store. Yeah. We had, then I don't know, just.
What about Grandpa's, his dad? That's a good.
Well, his dad now, they wanted him to become a priest. He had 2 great aunts that were nuns, and they wanted him to become a priest.
Wanted Grandpa to become a priest?
Yeah, because his father gave it up. He went through, he was a priest, but he gave it up. And they didn't, the nuns told him, if you become a priest, Well, all this is yours. And it was a mansion and with vineyards, you know, all that. But when he was 16, he came to America. He wanted to find his dad. He wouldn't go there. He didn't want to be a priest. He wanted to become, you know, he wanted to look for his dad.
Mm-hmm. You know how long before that had his dad left Italy?
Oh, he was 2 years old
Oh.
when his dad left.
Oh. Now, and he was from what part of Italy, Grandpa?
Calabria.
Calabria.
He was from Calabria.
And there was one sister?
Yes.
Yeah,
She was born after the father left. The mother was pregnant.
Mm-hmm. What was his sister's name?
Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
No, his mother's name was Catherine. Tell you the truth, I forgot. Yeah. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot her name. I didn't know it, but it can't won't come to me now. But they both died when in 1918, I think it was, when we had the World War. They got the Spanish flu, and they both died. First the daughter, and then the mother. They died.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when Agil came here, everything went to church. The nuns gave it all to church. His father's share and all. His father's share was supposed to be his.
Yeah.
But he gave it to. Everything went to the church.
Huh.
And but he continued to look for his father, and he did trace him in the Cook Hospital in Chicago. He was a surgeon there. But when they went to see him, he had left. They told him he went to Washington. I don't remember now if it was a state or Washington, D.C. They said that he was there, that he had went there, some hospital there, and that was it, because...
How long after you were married was Catherine born?
I was married 3 years when Catherine was born. Almost 3 years I would have been. 3 years, I think, in April. She was born in February. So then 2.5 years later, Madeline was born. 2.5 years later, Joanne was born. I was 19 years old when your mother was born, when Catherine was born. 19. I had, she was born in Gary, Kay was, but the others were born in Logansport, the other two girls. Yeah, now I don't know. Didn't I say no? I don't know, I
You
can't.
can talk about it.
Yeah, that's a long
Can't
time.
think of anything else. So.
There's,
Was it about Grandpa's family?
Told about it.
Tell about,
His dad.
oh,
Like they would come from Italy, right? Or
Oh.
from Spain?
once upon, way back, they're from, they were some kind of, in Spain. They were sent out, but
They were
I don't
inside.
know, Grandpa, they still called him, as a lord, you know, like he was some kind of a lord. When we went to a wedding in Joliet, some people that came in from the same part of Italy that Aguil came in from. And they called him Don Aguil, Don, which is like Lord, Aguil or Lord Grandy or whatever. They called him by that name yet. These people did. And yet, I don't know. They didn't have, once upon a time they did. They were big, they had a lot of, he had a great, well, Don Saveria. It must have been, it wasn't his grandfather's name was Aguil, but his grandfather's name, great-grandfather must have been, was Saveria. And he's the one that had a mistress in the same palace with his family, only the palace was so huge that the other end of it was the other end. He had
He kept his other woman at the other end of the
and
palace.
children, yeah.
Oh, he had
some
children too?
with him too, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if his wife ever knew it or not. Oh, they must have, but there wasn't much you could do about it, I guess, them days. Anyway, he's the one that really, that's when it started to fall, because they had already built it up in Italy, and then they started falling down, because when he died, most of the stuff went to the other side, the mistress.
Oh.
Most of it. The others got some, but they got most of it. Whatever, and it kind of broke down everything. So you see, there's a black sheep every place. In every family, you find a black sheep. Yeah. That's been years and years ago. Huh?
She's asking about the Frankie Ricciardi you heard from not too long ago.
Oh, that was my brother's son.
That's when we know.
My baby brother's boy.
Can you believe it? It's her baby brother's son. He's younger than us. How old is he?
30 now, probably.
He's about that. I don't know, yeah.
It,
Oh, he's more than 30, isn't he?
Not too much.
I think he's younger than me. He's
Is he
gotta be
younger?
about Joe's age, maybe 32.
Oh, yeah.
32.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a little girl, beautiful little girl.
Uh-huh.
He sent me a Christmas picture of her.
Uh-huh.
He's staying with these people. And you know what? These people, this girl that he married is from Brooklyn, New York. He met her in Florida, though.
Yeah.
And they got married. And when she told these people that they were neighbors with in New York, why, and they gave him his name as Frank Ricciardi, they said, where's he from? He said, Logansport, Indiana. I said, well, I got a brother out there. And we didn't even know that, as far as I knew, my father only had one brother, and he was in Italy with some children. He was in Italy, but then he must have moved to Brooklyn, New York. Came to there because Frankie had a picture of one of the boys, must have been his son, unless it was him, where he was like an opera singer. A singer of some kind.
In New York?
And I don't know if it was in New York or in Italy.
The people were,
I thought
they
it
were
was Italy,
Ricciardis,
but
though?
it might have been, huh?
They were Ricciardis?
Frank Ricciardi, yeah. He was a Ricciardi. I don't know what his name was.
Huh.
But it might have been the guy that, might have been his brother, I don't know. And it might have been, because there was only the two boys, that's all that was in that family. But he had two girls, because I remember sending them, fixing a package for him one time and sending it to these two girls in Italy. and then they must have moved to, this girl said that she met him. They were the best friends. They were next door neighbors for years. And she went to school with one of the girls. And that's how they...
Huh.
So sometimes, you know, the world isn't as large as you think it is. Small world.
I remember the story. What about your first chicken you cooked that time? Remember your chicken you said you cooked?
Oh,
That's
this
a good
was
one.
Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. That was the first Thanksgiving we had together after, you know, my mother died. And I cooked, I went ahead and cooked, well, we made pies. My dad baked, he had a garden and he brought home a great big pumpkin. So my brother and I, we broke that pumpkin up, cut it up, peeled it, cut it, cooked it, run it through a sieve, and made puree, you know, like out of it. And then we added sugar, brown sugar, eggs, milk, canned milk, and we fixed it, you know, we had a recipe. We followed the recipe. But we kept running out of things because there was more there than we thought. But we did it all. We measured it, we did it all. We turned out 11 pumpkin pies. My brother had to help me make the crust for it. I don't know what kind of crust it was, but I guess it was all right because those pies were eaten. My father was so happy when he saw, because he liked pumpkin pies. He took all the neighbors one. And I'm sure they ate them. I never saw any in the garbage, so must have eaten them. And I made noodles by hand. And I cooked this chicken. First time I ever baked a chicken. The only thing is I left this part of the neck in it. I didn't know you had to take that piece out. But as soon as I noticed it, I took it out. You know, I took it out, put it back in. It was good. I stuffed the chicken and baked it with, and I had the noodles with like macaroni, you know, only they were noodles. I made them by hand, like you do noodles. And my dad was so proud and happy. He should, of course, when he saw the grocery bill, I don't know. But he didn't say nothing. My aunt had the store, and we run out of things, you know, we'd run to the store, and of course they'd mark it down, you know, what we get. But then my dad told them whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
And so we kept running out of milk, we kept running out of eggs, we kept running out of sugar for those pies.
All those
11 pies. We didn't know what to do then, we had to make the pies. We had sense enough to just measure out so much, you know. I guess, I don't know, but anyway, pies were good. We kept 3 or 4 of them, the rest, my dad gave them away. We ate pies for a long time.
That's pretty good.
And that was a lot of fun. And that's something that stands out and we'll always remember. My dad was so happy that he came home because it was always such a sad affair, you know, especially on holidays. And this was one holiday that we really cooked it up. Yeah, it was nice. Didn't, I don't know, it was, when you think back, can't think of everything, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But when you think back, it's a lot of nice things happen.
Yes.
Now where's the pot? Here it is. Hey, Dad, where are the matches?
Wait a minute, Jim.
Oh, where's the matches? Got to turn off that.
Go turn off the
Boy,
sun
isn't
over
that
there.
pretty?
Got to turn off the sun.
No, there. Turn off the, yeah. We don't want to burn one here.
Turn off the sun.
One of those matches.
Come here.
Jared?
Just light the candle.
I get afraid when that gets
Well, get
Shake it out.
I do too.
Better hurry.
I get that tight over these matches.
No, put it in the fire with the other one.
Hillary, really pretty.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, now stand to the side so did. Okay, ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Go stand by Grandma.
Happy birthday, dear Grandma. Happy birthday to you.
We
Love you, we do. We love you, we do. God bless you and keep you another year through. Let's hear the
Oh, Grandma!
My
You
good
guys,
grief.
Grandma.
Yay!
Two.
What happened?
Face getting red. I was laughing, I couldn't blow. He started to blow. Oh, that's good. Now who wants a piece of cake?
Okay, Marcia and Judy, get over here, my mother.
Why not you too, Mary?
Mary, get over here by mother so we can take a picture.
Mary,
I don't
get
know if
over
we can
here.
all squeeze in there.
Oh, we can all do it. Come on. I'm
I'll
glad
just
Hillary's
get over here.
taller than I am now.
Oh, are you taller?
No, but almost.
Got us there.
Woo!
Get your hands on now.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting anything.
I know.
Nice to meet you.
What, get a cake? That's a real surprising cake.
Oh, it's nice.
And who actually baked the cake?
All of us.
Everybody got to turn some, to stir it a little bit.
Everybody got to
Everybody got to start it.
Everybody got to
Eat a little bit
That's
for
good.
sure. When we go to cut it.
Right now?
Did Mom just
Mary's playing with the new video.
Yeah, Mary's playing with the camera.
Here, Grandma.
Let's see, how do we cut it? I ain't ticklish, but you're You're not ticklish. I'm gonna try that again, Judy. Or did I just tickle you? Are you ticklish? No, you're
There, how big of these do you guys want?
And nobody wants to get hammered with these. Okay?
Yeah.
And I got real little and then.
Are you trying to tickle me? Yeah. Let me see. It's one cake.
I was chocolate.
No, Mom said you liked
I did.
I'm zooming in. You want my nose?
Wow.
Get her now.
Ear.
Oh, yeah.
Gray hair. Yeah, I know all about that junk. I can't think of any other wonderful features. Okay, well, we'll go to Mother. Mother, point out your good features.
I like
Features? I don't know if I got any. Good features.
Her dimple. Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
my feature. I got wrinkles now. What's yours here? Never wanted a wrinkle.
Well, watch me.
What's yours here? Huh?
Okay, where's my husband? There he is.
Where'd you get this butterscotch fever?
That's one way to make everyone feel weird is zoom in on
Yeah,
it.
I know.
zooming on
Give me
it.
that
Oh,
thing.
Sure don't, please.
What's yours?
Hey, Mom, zoom in on me. Mom, do it on me.
Oh, I thought you said
Mom, do it on me.
we have some cake and ice. Take too long to show
Do it on me, Mom. Then zoom in on me.
That tries to jump over and all he does is trip himself. John's laying there like this if he just laughs. Here we go, get up here. What's your name? Watch out, time out, don't throw it.
Osborne. I hit after him then.
Osborne wins. You guys should be ready. He's going to fast now. Watch out now. Here we go. There's no one up there. That's all right.
Yeah, there is. I'm up there.
He's going. Oh, break down. Oh, man.
Time to go, girls. Let's go.
Go now, Andy.
Yeah.
Why the blood's good.
Say bye, Joe and Sheila.
Hi, Mayor.
Here, Joe, turn around here. I'm getting a close-up of you.
We
can't move, yeah?
Bye, girls.
Let's see, guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Come on.
It's there.
I didn't see that way. Bye, Dad.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
2 balls to the bases, right? 2 balls to the bases in the bat. She had a bat. How many bats did she have?
That. What kind do you want?
Give me a pop and give me that. Bye. Lindsay, I'm taping you, looking at me mean. Say bye. Bugger. Why you keep walking by me?
You got some paint you can do, and you have got some trim on your
Just a
think you're right. But I'm going to work on gas lines. Oh, you are? I'll save that for later. Sheila will work on that. Blowing up to what? Yeah. He's got a piano. He's got a piano. I think we're going to cut that into pieces. Well, I think if I was you, I would just hook onto it and change the drag down the road. Them wheels are turning it out. They'd do something, wouldn't they? That's right. Either that or Sheila lifts it. Well, I think we have a chance of pulling it down the road.
Uncle Paul?
I want to see you guys later. Oh, my God. Okay. Bye, Chris.
Take care.
You got something over there for us? Sheila, to see? Got some more? We'll get over there and get it pretty soon.
Hello, Jennifer. Jennifer, give me a big grown-up look. Big grown-up look. That's it, sweetie. Hey, Jim.
You want a big grown-up look from me, too.
Big grown-up look. No naughty things. Nothing naughty.
Well, that's the only way I know how to be grown up.
This is a family photo thing. Yes, Stephen, I've got you. I'm going to close in, zoom in on you.
Yeah, you.
I zoomed in on you too, Jim. And I'm checking out Uncle Frank. There you go.
That's him.
Well, they all have jobs.
Did you see this, Chris?
They work at their jobs.
Have you
They
seen
have
that?
to do anything else.
Carol sent it.
Carol did?
Yeah. She thought of Brad when she read it.
One in stuff to community. Not chicken stuff.
Did you get somebody?
One down. Yeah.
The only thing, I'll bet they turn on the key. And after it starts in gear, they'll run over the fuel barrel and into the fuel shed. It blows all up. And then Uncle Phil will be all disturbed. I don't know why. I can figure out why myself.
I used to try to get over the weekend together this year, so.
taking our picture.
Well, I'm worried about it. Well, I do.
June, you're on candid camera.
Oh, jeez.
I told him.
I know, everyone loves this, don't they?
Gotta take my good side.
You girls,
Here, I'll put my butt up in the air.
we better talk about something else right now.
Yes,
We're on
sir.
camera.
I'll put my butt up
Well, you
there.
can take my good side, Mary.
Take my good
I
side.
don't have a good side.
I don't either.
The back.
my good
The back.
Oh, my big toe.
At least your hair always looks nice. Mine always looks like something that.
Oh, God. Kay, why don't you get it cut real
Oh,
short?
I had it cut. It just grows fast.
Well, mine does too.
I gotta get it
You
cut.
gotta do it every...
Where y'all going?
What's that?
Threshing time!
We got this in January. Steve won a lucky year. Steve won $1,000 on the scratching lottery. I've been wanting a camera. Get you back, Russ.
Oh, no, I got one back. It's not a good idea.
Guys.
Oh yeah!
Sing a quartet.
Oh my!
I really do. I think they have it focused on YouTube. They do. Are we supposed to wave? Are you just focused on those two?
I'll tell you,
On
I
all
really
four?
hate video cameras. Anyone who watches on the video camera.
Hi.
Cool feet. Good. We'll keep this forever, hon. Woo.
Well, you never know when
Let
I'll
'em
die,
dance.
and you will want to have it to show my, vivaciousness.
Hey, get me!
I gotcha.
Think about it, Mary, when I'm dead. Then it'll be real fun to keep it forever.
Don't hide that. Emily, you move over. You don't hide on Frank. There you go.
Ready?
Smile.
Everybody out of the garden. Everybody out of the garden. Hey, boys.
Hey, don't get in my garden out there, you guys.
Jared, what are you looking for?
Get out of there.
Excuse me. Take my picture.
I mean, even rats don't train that.
It's got 8 millimeters.
You said it would actually be easier to get. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you didn't care about the quality.
I know, we don't need to rock it.
Looks like a snake rolled up.
You want to play ball?
Yeah.
Let's play kickball.
Drinking it. Gotta have it.
Oh, that's right. You guys might need it.
Off the air. Ah!
I thought I had it for the week.
Oh! Hey, you got me!
Okay, push it on.
Hey, we're going to get ready to leave. Thanks so much for inviting us. It was our pleasure to be with you today. Well, we almost anymore. We almost feel like part of the family.
Here, Dave, get a picture.
Come on, Dave. Get
Come on, Dave, get a picture. Get a picture.
Oh, we enjoyed it a great deal. Really, we did. We'll do
We'll
that.
try to make it sooner than it's supposed to be. We say that when we don't do it.
Well, we just talking about the black babies. You know if you'd win any or not.
Well, we could probably get one. I don't know how long.
Yeah, yeah.